Good morning and welcome back to another edition of your Pulse Wave Report with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com. All right, so by now you guys know what time it is. Most of you have gone over to the PulseWaveTrading.com website and have been absolutely blown away. You are welcome. You are welcome for the ridiculous pricing that we got going on. We have a blowout quarantine sale going on right now where you can come and break bread with us for pennies on the dollar, baby. Go to postwavetrading.com and see what that's all about. You want to hurry up though, because these new algo shifts are no joke. Markets are going to be moving and you don't want them to move without you. You want to know what time it is, what's the game plan for each and every day. You got to know what your marching orders are. You got to know each day that you come into this, where is the money flow? Where is my money flow? Where's my money? Where's my money? You want to know where's my money? Okay. Well, we give it to you so that you can be well informed. All right. That's how we roll. All right, so right now, if you look at the overnight markets, you got the Dow futures up 117 points. You got the E-mini S&P up 500, up 5 points. It's over that 36 threshold. It's trading at 36.12. Dow is still below 30,000, trading at 29,837. NASDAQ right now is down 11 and 3/4 points at 11,963 and a quarter. It's struggling with that 12,000 line. You got the Russell My Hustle right now struggling with the 1,800 line. It's at 19. I'm sorry, I said 1797. We hit a high of 1807 in the overnight. Gold futures right now, it's a little stuck in the mud, down $8.60, trading at $1,876.50 an ounce. Silver also stuck down 16 cents, trading at $24.48 an ounce. Crude oil, we've rolled over, you guys, to the February contract. So we're in a different contract now, a different month. All right, we've rolled over. It's at $42.30 per barrel, up 65 cents per barrel. So for those that do not know, all right, those that don't know, I don't know what I don't know. We have rolled over. You heard my horror story. Dealing with these crudes. All right, if you don't move with that contract rollover, you're going to get hurt. So going over now to the January of 2021 is where we are right now. All right. So January 21, that's the new front month on the crude oil contract. The ticker that we trade on the mini is QM, and then F as in Frank 21. All right. The F as in Frank lets you know that it's the January contract. The one after that is going to be February, and that's going to be the G symbol. Then March is the H symbol, and then, of course, April is the J symbol. You can get confused, like I often do sometimes with the F and the J, because to me, F would be February, J would be January, but no, that's not how they did it. And crude oil is one of those contracts, too, that pretty much trades just about every month. So not all of them do. Some of them are on the quarterly cycle, like your U.S. stock index futures, all right, and your currencies. They're going to trade with the 4 quarters of the year. So they're going to trade March, they're going to trade June, September, and then December, all right? So that's your little futures 101 FYI for you guys that are out there banging it out in the futures. So be sure to roll over your crude oil contract. I cannot stress that enough. Don't trade the old one. Don't trade December. December 2020 is gone off the board. You need to be in January of 21. Capiche? All right. So we got Bitcoin up $230 at $17,960 after topping out in the overnight at $18,540. Nat gas right now is up 4 cents at $2.73. It did hit 278 a little while ago, and the overnight low is 268. So still trading in a relatively tight trading range. Soybeans on fire again, up 12 3/4 points at 11.82 half. You got corn up 3 1/4 at 4.23 half, and wheat is up 3 1/2 at 5.98 3/4. It is getting about that time to have to start operating in these beans. At this rate, we could be seeing beans in the teens. We got to see what's up. So I'm watching these beans. I'm tracking these beans. I might have to start operating there. We'll see. Your long bond is up 14/32 at 173 even. U.S. dollar index is still hurting. All right, we're in the lower end now of the 92 handle. We're at 92.39, down 2 pips. The market was at 92.21 in the overnight, threatening to hit the 91 handle. You got your euro yen. It's down 39 pips, trading at 123.26. Could that be a precursor to the stock indexes? We shall see. Is it leading or is it lagging at this point? We will see. The euro dollar is down 4 pips at 118.68. Your pound sterling is up 13 pips at 132.75. And last but not least, your Aussie is down 8 pips at 72.99. All right, so that is your overnight snapshot into these markets. Let's take a look-see at what else we got with the overnight market news. Let's see here. Okay, there's a little bit of fear mongering. They're saying for the first time, Wall Street is admitting that civil unrest could crash the markets. And of course, the market has some COVID vaccine good news priced into it right now. It is ignoring any kind of negative news, except for your NASDAQ is struggling a bit here to stay positive. It's now down 21. Let's see here. The U.S. housing market is not looking good. Not looking good overall, but they are spinning it to make it look positive. Let's see what else we got. Anything really big? No, of course, they're starting to notice the soybeans. Only after I've been saying something. Soybeans near $12 per bushel as U.S. farmers celebrate surging prices. What else we got? Wayne County is in the news. Wayne County Board breaks their deadlock, votes unanimously to certify election results while demanding an audit. All right, so there you have on that one. Unfortunately, we got some bad news. Forced vaccination law in Denmark abandoned after public protests. This would have given authorities power to have police restrain and inject anyone who refuses. That's a good news for liberty, but bad news overall. The fact that in Denmark, they were acting as a pilot program to force vaccinate people against their will. You see what I'm saying? That is not the role of government. The role of government is to bear the sword against the unlawful, those that are out there sinning, those that are out there causing ruckus. All right, the government is to bear the sword, to punish evildoers. All right, it is not have the authority. Government was not instituted to trample on individual rights and freedoms. Okay, so this right here should be a wake-up call around the globe, letting you know that government is out of control. Not just here in the United States, as the United States is dying, you're actually witnessing the slow death of an empire. Nope, this is not it. This is what you're seeing around the world. Chaos is real. The chaos is real. But unfortunately, the chaos also has been manufactured. So don't get it twisted, thinking that this is all organic and natural. It is not. All right. Your government has given you what it wants you to be concerned about. All right. Just remember where you get all your information from. You get it from your government. Now, there's been a U.S.-wide media blackout, okay, about the election. The fake news mainstream media has been pushing it down your throat that Trump has succeeded the election, and you've been hearing nothing except for let's move on with it. They're not even addressing at all the evidence that has been brought forth to show the rigged election. All right? They're not showing it, which is pretty sad. It's pretty sad. And you really do need to think about this. All right? I can't, put this to you enough that you got to look at what's been going on, because what's been going on is crazy. Okay? And I'm just here to tell you that you need to really start to investigate these things, because things are not appearing, what you think that they are. It's just not. It's not what you think it is. And you have to at least, you owe it to yourself. You really do. You owe it to yourself to investigate. Okay? And I think we've gotten to a point now in the United States where we don't investigate anymore. We don't look into things anymore. And that's sad. That's really sad. I think that we do need to look into things a little bit more, and not just just wave things off like it's nothing. And I think that's the biggest issue that we face right now in the United States, is that we don't think about things. We don't debate things. We don't think things through. And I think that's a travesty. It really is. It's a travesty, because when you do that, you miss out. You ignore all the warning signs. And when you do that, you set yourself up for epic failure and to be taken advantage of. And that's what's happening right now. No one is really addressing, and dealing with the arguments that are being posted. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Why is that? Why is there no debate on the subject? What is it that they're hiding? What is it that they don't want you to know? And until we answer those questions, I think there's always going to be an issue. There's going to be issues. They don't go away because you ignore them. You really do have to deal with them. So I think right now it's going to be really telling. It's going to be very telling. Like, where do we go from here? Will the people really say, hold on, not so fast? Where's the harm in at least looking into these things for real? And I don't think that people are ready to do that quite yet. I don't think that people want to do that. I think that they want to just ignore it and bury their heads in the sand. Even if you voted for Biden, do you really want Biden to win like that? Are we saying that by any means necessary, if it comes out that the election was stolen, are you saying that we hate Trump so much that we're willing to turn a blind eye to fraud? You don't care, so you're just gonna let that just let that happen? That's okay. You cool with that? For real? That's okay with you? fraud is okay. Since when did fraud become okay? Since when did it become okay to steal an election? Since when did it become okay for government to become tyrannical and do whatever it wants? Since when did that become okay? When did we start moving like that? Because that's basically what you're saying. If you're saying it doesn't matter at this point, then you're saying that truth and righteousness don't matter to you. You don't care. You just hate Trump and want him out of office. But you're failing to realize that none of that, what you're saying, matters then. Does it matter who's in the White House if the government has been hijacked? It doesn't matter. I think we need to look into this, people, a little deeper and not just allow things to go by. Don't just blindly trust the mainstream media, which is an arm of the U.S. government. It's a propaganda machine. Don't fall for that. All right? You got to do the knowledge to everything. You got to peep the science behind everything. Don't let them tell you what it is you need to believe in and what you should be doing. Okay? Don't do that. That's dangerous. You don't want to set that kind of a precedent, because once you give them that type of carte blanche power, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. They're not just going to walk away and say, you know what, we decided we don't want power anymore. Thanks a lot. No, it's not going to go away, ladies and gentlemen. So what are some of the evidences that are being put out there? What is it? Well, first of all, let's examine what we got going on here. So we have a U.S. election that's still not technically over. It's still an issue. Here we are almost 2 weeks afterwards, 2 weeks after people went to the polls, 2 weeks after the so-called race has been called for Biden. And every mainstream media outlet in the world has called it for him. 2 weeks after recounts are still ongoing and irregularities are still manifesting themselves. Now, Trump's legal team and many in the alternate media are claiming the election was rigged, with one voice, the mainstream media and the entire political establishment denouncing these claims as baseless, and they keep saying there's no evidence to it. But this is incorrect, ladies and gentlemen. There is plenty of evidence, both circumstantial and direct, which breaks down into 6 basic categories. The first category is the president. It has happened before. The second is the motive. The deep state, the military dislike of Trump's policies is not a secret. Third, how about the foreknowledge? The establishment voices predicted this exact situation. How about the next one? Opportunity. The voting system is highly susceptible to fraud. If you look into the top companies that provide these voting machines and have looked at the whole process, how they wanted to change the process this year to pretty much, the majority of voting being done by mail, huge red flag. How about the voting irregularities, known software glitches and irregularities in the reporting of the results? How about not allowing people to witness the counting of the votes? How about the cover-up? How about the dishonesty in the reporting of the situation? You got to look at that. You got to look at these things. There's plenty of evidence that the U.S. elections have been rigged before. Nobody's talking about that much. But U.S. elections have been rigged before, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone is more than familiar with the 2000 election, which was called for Al Gore before Florida flipped to Bush and swung the election. The controversy over hanging chads and misplaced votes were all people talked about for weeks. How about the one noteworthy error with the electronic voting machines? Switched over 10,000 votes from Gore to an obscure third-party candidate. After weeks of legal battles, Gore eventually conceded with the year of the attacks on 9/11 had happened. And that happened within a year of that voting scandal. And the U.S. was at war in Afghanistan and planning 6 more wars within 3 years. Has everyone forgotten about that? What a short-term memory. What a short-term memory. More recently, it was revealed the DNC had gone out of its way to hand Hillary the presidential nomination over Sanders in 2016. Then in 2020 primaries, despite embarrassingly lopsided losses in the first few primaries, Biden's presidential campaign had a miraculous turnaround, thanks largely to irregularities in postal ballots in Ohio, Wisconsin, and New Jersey. This is evidence of precedent, ladies and gentlemen. So just by default, you will want to look into this just to be on the safe side. How about the motive? The deep state has clear and publicly known motives for wanting to remove Trump from office. It's no secret that many members of the U.S. political establishment oppose Trump and his policies. This includes neocon warmongers and chiefs of the military and intelligence agencies. The resistance, billed as some voice of the progressive alternative, boasted former members of George Bush's cabinet as members. The most strident opposition to Trump was a foreign policy, most specifically in the Middle East. Trump was committed to withdrawing from Syria in direct opposition to the Assad must go crowd at the Pentagon and the State Department. Just last week, it was revealed that the Department of Defense actually lied to Trump about their troop numbers in Syria, claiming to have pulled out almost everyone while they actually kept their covert war going. Conversely, Biden has always been firmly in the establishment camp on Syria, and many warmongers are already predicting that Biden will want to restore some dignity to the Syrian people. The U.S. deep state has carried out coups all around the world, many of them bloody and violent, in order to maintain imperial ambitions and keep wars for profit going. They have every motive to want to remove Trump and put Biden in his place. This is evidence of motive, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot ignore this. It's blatant and it's in your face, ladies and gentlemen. How about the foreknowledge of this event? How about that? Being warned ahead of time that this was going to happen. Establishment voices have been predicting and planning for this exact situation for almost a year, to our knowledge. Now, in January of 2020, well before anyone could have predicted the effect of the pandemic would have on the world, legal scholars were wargaming the outcome of a disputed presidential election based on postal ballots in Pennsylvania. How can you ignore that? In August, a group naming themselves the Transition Integrity Project published a document predicting a disputed election, that the counting would take much longer than usual, and that it would not be certain who was president until January. More generally, the outcome of the election was widely predicted, with multiple press outlets claiming there would be a red mirage and a blue shift, meaning it would look like Trump would win and then suddenly Biden would win at the last minute. Did I not tell you that? This is evidence of foreknowledge, ladies and gentlemen. How about the crime of opportunity? There is plenty of evidence that the U.S. voting system is open to potential corruption. I brought that to you guys' attention back in 2016. And I told you I heard it first person, not secondhand, not an article on the internet. I spoke to one of the heads of one of those companies. I cannot tell you which one. I spoke with him. And he admitted there was backdoors built into the election machines, voting machines, at the government's behest. Now think about that for a minute. Voting machines, for example, are owned and distributed by private companies, okay? Not the government, many of which have political ties. An article in the Guardian of all places, went into great detail about this last year when they were suggesting that Trump may have stolen the 2016 election. Now, likewise, isn't it funny though that everyone's claiming that Trump stole the 2016 election, but now that they have stolen the 2020 election, they don't want to hear no noise on that. They don't want to discuss that, but they wanted to discuss it when it was Trump, they said, had stolen the election. Postal ballots are known to be susceptible to fraud, ladies and gentlemen. William Barr, the Attorney General, summed it up in a television interview in September, and written reports in 2007 and earlier this year have gone into great detail about historical cases of postal vote fraud and possibilities of future occurrences. Again, you can't ignore history. This is evidence of opportunity. But what about those voting irregularities? There are plenty of irregularities in the results, which suggest the possibility of something strange going on. Now, the story of the election by the numbers doesn't really make logical sense. The turnout is said to be 72%, and the highest in 120 years, and the first over 60% for over 50 years. Now, in the process, Joe Biden, we're told, shattered Barack Obama's popular vote record by almost 10 million votes. Joe Biden? This Joe Biden? When he can't even remember what day it is, or his name, or his family's name? He got more votes than Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you saying the American people are agreeing that Biden will be a better president than Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton? Are you serious? Meanwhile, Donald Trump increased his own popular vote by over 10 million, while increasing his vote share in almost every ethnic demographic, as well as with women and LGBT voters, making him the first incumbent president to increase his popular vote but still lose in over a century, and the only one since all 50 states were part of the union. That's something to think about. That's remarkable. Even if you believe that narrative is possible, there's more than enough evidence of voting irregularities to warrant at least questioning the result and investigating further. Now, in one Michigan county, an error in the software configuration swung thousands of votes for Republican to Democrat and called a congressional seat for the wrong party. Really? That's not worthy of investigation? This error was only spotted because of the historically Republican record of the county. In a more hotly disputed seat, this error could potentially never have been picked up. Another Michigan county reported an error which switched 5,500 votes from Trump to Biden, a swing of 11,000 votes. The software used in this county is used in 30 other states, including Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania, all of which were decided by less than 1% of the vote, and any two of which could swing the election to Trump. In fact, Dominion, the company which supplied the questionable voting software, was denied a contract by the state of Texas in 2019 when judges found there were concerns about whether it is safe from fraudulent or unauthorized manipulation. The back door I was telling you about. A subsidiary of Dominion was kicked out of the Philippines for being too easy to hack. There's even a video clip to show CNN's coverage switching over 19,000 votes from Trump to Biden in Pennsylvania. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. Now, the counting itself was also deeply suspect, with several states taking almost a week to count the last few percent of the vote, while managing to count over 90% of the vote on the first evening. Did you get that? Several states taking almost a week to count the last few percent of the vote, while managing to count over 90% of the vote on the first evening. How did you manage to count 90% of the vote on the first day, but now it's taking you weeks to count the last 1% of the votes? Really? That's not suspicious to you, American people? That's not suspicious? In Wisconsin, the National Guard were brought in to transcribe damaged ballots, while in Pennsylvania, they were allowed to count postal votes with no clear postmark, fairly obviously. As Glenn Greenwald wrote, the very fact the count was so arduous and complicated raises questions about the outcome. You're saying that doesn't warrant an investigation? What you just heard is still not good enough for you? Really? 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 How about the cover up of all of this and the media blackout over what's going on behind the scenes with this vote? The media is guilty of engaging in lies and censorship. To state there is no evidence of election rigging is an outright bold-faced lie. There is plenty of evidence. Every news outlet, every channel and website is singing from the same hymn sheet on this. Even Fox News, so often Trump's supposed favorite channel, is on board. Even before the election, as I earlier discussed, all the mainstream media were running articles defending mail-in ballots and claiming that they are not historically weak to voter fraud. Really? This is totally untrue. It's a lie. It's propaganda, as anyone who cared to research the topic would tell you. In fact, many countries have incredibly rigged controls on postal voting for exactly that reason. And then after the election, social media companies and mainstream media outlets censor the president of the United States. So why are all the media telling the same lie? Why are people being denied a platform? This is evidence of a cover-up. Ask yourself the following questions. If in 2016, some voting software used in 30 states had flipped 5,500 votes from Hillary to Trump and later been revealed to be financially tied to the Republican Party, would that have been just a glitch or evidence of cheating? You decide. If the Brexit referendum had swung violently to leave after dumps of suspect postal ballots were permitted into the count by a judge who was a known Brexit supporter, would the media have kept quiet, you think? Or how about this one? If in Russia, the media denied a platform to the opposition to accuse Putin of voter fraud, would that be responsible media practice or evidence of bias and censorship? You decide. We don't know exactly what happened or how the election results were controlled and what they did, since they didn't allow people to oversee the process. But as of right now, the specifics don't matter, do they? The point is, there is plenty of evidence suggesting something happened, more than enough to warrant asking rational questions and expecting reasonable answers. Every time the media ignores the evidence or censors the evidence or censors those seeking evidence, they only display further that there must be some fire behind all this smoke, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Do the knowledge to this. Peep the science behind this. You guys are better than that. You guys are smarter than this. You know what time it is. Come on now. Come on now. You know what it is. You know what's staring you right in the face. You know what they up to. You know what they doing. You know what they have done, did, and doing. You know. You don't need me to tell you. You're smarter than that. I know you are. Okay. So again, you have to look into it, ladies and gentlemen. It should be investigated. You don't just deny something without looking into it. All right. Now I know what y'all gonna point to. You're gonna say, well, what about the cyber chief, Trump cyber chief, who debunked the election claims? He didn't debunk anything. He just simply said that it was baseless. He didn't give any evidence of why it was baseless, and he didn't go point by point and rebuttal what I just laid out for here this morning to you. Where's the facts behind that? Anyone can say, "Oh, there's nothing to it. I'm a man of position. I have a position, and I have some power. And just believe me, just trust me when I tell you that there's nothing wrong." Oh, trust you? I just pointed out several points that need to be looked into. So before you can debunk something, don't you have to investigate it and lay out why it's false? Just saying that it's false isn't good enough. That doesn't make it false. You got to prove, you got to lay out your evidence why you say it's not and debunk those points I just raised to you. You can't because it's a fact and it's already happened. How can you debunk something that's happened? That's already been admitted to happening. You can't. That's like trying to be a revisionist historian. How are you going to try to whitewash history and rewrite history? History is a fact. It already happened. What are you going to do? Deny 9/11 happened? You could deny that thousands of people died and that those buildings didn't really come down, that the buildings are still there? It's just a mirage. You're going to debunk that too? All right. Sometimes truth and facts do not line up. Sometimes there is a difference. I've demonstrated that to you on this channel. Have I not? Every fact is not necessarily a truth. You got to look at both. They got to line up. And this morning, I presented to you enough reasonable doubt to at least warrant an investigation into these election irregularities. Can't we both agree that there were some irregularities based on what I presented to you this morning? Can we at least agree that there are some irregularities that have happened? This warrants an investigation. That's all I'm saying. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you specifically what happened because I wasn't there. All I'm saying is we do need to look into this. There have been some things raised, and we need to take a look into it. That's all I'm saying. All right. So all I'm saying. All right. With that being said, guys, you know what it is. PulseWaveTrading.com. Go and sign up so you can break bread with us. You don't want to miss out on these algo shifts that are here. You know what it is. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I am out. Peace.